Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, from wherever in the world you are joining us today. My name is Andrew Jacker. I am chairman of the Asia Pacific Spa and Wellness Coalition, a not-for-profit organization based in Singapore. I'm coming to you from Thailand today. I would like to thank the team of Beauty Online Trade Show for affording us, the APSWC, the opportunity to bring to you a panel of global wellness industry experts. We are all finalists in the Hall of Wellness Awards 2020, the only awards that is dedicated to the people of the spa and wellness industry. Joining me today is Lucy Braley, co-founder of the Sustainable Spa Association in the UK. Good morning, Lucy.
Good morning, Andrew. Thank you for having me today. Thanks for inviting me.
Great to have you here. Also joining us today is Marissa Dimitriadis, founder and managing director of the Spa Consultants in South Africa.
Hi,
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Marissa. And finally, but last but not least, Mr. Laszlo Haksal, co-founder of the Health Tourism Worldwide. He's coming to us live from Hungary today. Good morning, Laszlo.
Yes, hello. Very good morning, afternoon, or evening, or night, or wherever you are. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. And these panelists will be giving us insights into some of the big picture issues that the spa and wellness industry faces today. The panelists' knowledge is extensive and their time is valuable. So if there is no objections, we'll get straight into the questions. All right, and we'll start with ladies first. So if you don't mind, so Marissa, we'll start with you. I've got a question I would like to ask. Right, it's a little bit long question, but I think it's an important question. The spa and wellness industry provides a wide range of technical and manual services, utilizing the knowledge and capabilities of both skilled and unskilled professionals. Therapists and beauticians are arguably the face of the industry, but the role of receptionists and spa attendants are equally important as they collectively give the lifeblood to the operator's business. What do you see as the most important consideration of managing a spa team in 2021?
Wow.
Marissa?
What a question. Very interesting and definitely very of the essence, because 2020 saw a huge shift in everything to do with spa, absolutely everything. And one of those huge shifts was, in my opinion, seen among the workforce in the spa, among the staff themselves. And the reason I say that, and what I believe is one of the most important aspects of managing a spa going into 2021, and that is looking after the well-being and the mental health of our workforce. So if you think about it, we have a term that we use called energy transference, and that is when one of our therapists touches another client in their massage, in their facial, in their pedicure, whichever way they touch them. And their energy, what they're feeling, whether they are showing it or not, that energy is transferred into the consumer. And because we are dealing with such a fragile, some are broken, some are stressed, some are anxious, some don't have money. That's the workforce that we're dealing with at the moment. Looking after that energy transference and making sure that when they come into our spa, they have or are portraying a good energy, and they are giving off a healthy, calm type of energy to the consumer. So that isn't typically something that was part of managing a staff force in the past, and it definitely seems to, well, it was part of it, but it wasn't a focus.
Okay, we seem to be having some technical difficulties.
Am I back? I'm fine. I'm fine. Are we good?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So, yes, so typically in the past, it's not something that we focused heavily on. And I definitely do see us looking after the well-being, mental well-being of our staff as much more of a focus going into 2021.
Can I just expand a little bit there? You say we haven't focused on the past. Why do you think it is that we haven't focused previously on this? Because obviously we're in the wellness industry, and if we want our guests to be well, wouldn't it make sense that our staff were well?
Yes, correct. However, because those staff are part of the same industry we are, and we automatically assume that we look after ourselves because this is the industry that we're in. And I don't think we've ever been faced with something as traumatic as the pandemic. And consumers are also becoming far more, if I can use the term, needy in a good way. They need that great energy. They need those massages. They need that touch and that connection that they have. So it's not something that we never, ever used to focus on, but it was touched on. We would have team building and group huddles and, getting our staff excited and motivated, but never really focusing on their energy and what type of energy are they transferring and what is their mental state of mind.
Right. So it's really a case of reprioritizing is what we're looking at now.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Lucy, do you want to add anything to that, or?
Well, I agree with Marissa on this. I started my career 20 odd years ago, and I was a holistic therapist. I was a therapist, right at the beginning in my career, and particularly with holistic therapies, the kind of quality of touch that a therapist gives to a client is extremely important part of the treatment. And I understand what Marissa's saying in terms of, yes, we have looked at this aspect with our therapists and teams before, but now, because, in the past you might have had perhaps one therapist have an off day or, an off week, perhaps even, but when you've got a whole team who are potentially anxious or feeling a bit nervous about being back in the workplace, those conditions, the whole energy of the team and the environment can change. So it's the whole environment, and then when you kind of single it down into a specific treatment, the customer is coming for that reassurance that might not be transferred to the therapist if they're feeling particularly anxious.
No, I mean, that makes sense. Laszlo?
I would add one consideration from, say, investor or operator's perspective, because you always look at it as utilization or staff utilization performance per day or per week, which is a time/revenue /space understanding, whereas what Marissa and we are advocating, that this is way more important to look at what that person is transferring to the guests, less so how many minutes that person is being utilized, because technically you can put a body into a space, but customers are expecting more than just a body in a space. You would like to have the benefits of having those treatments, which are physical as well as psychological and the various other aspects of it. So in terms of utilization of staff or managing places or even planning places, this consideration that Marissa was mentioning, I think it would need to be taken way more into consideration than it has been so far.
So, I mean, so it's really a case of re-looking at your, well, as I said before, it's reprioritizing. It's reprioritizing also your KPIs then, right? No longer it's a case of looking, they must have one therapist, they must do 8 hours of treatment per day or 6 hours of treatment a day or whatever, right? We've got to look beyond that, at least in the short term, and to ensure that our staff really are being looked after.
Andrew, can I give you an example of something that
Yes,
I don't
please.
think we've taken? So I don't know, and I could be wrong, of any spa owner or operator that has performed quality of life questionnaires on their therapists. They might do quality of life questionnaires on their top or middle management, but I have never in the past, in the 40 odd spas that I've been involved in operating, have we ever done that on the therapists. We've now started a program that we began 6 months ago, where all the sites that we operate and work with, we are doing it's a tailored quality of life questionnaire. So it's not the typical one that gets put out by a psychologist. It's more tailored towards a therapist and her background and their setup, at home. So at therapist level, and these questionnaires are coming back with a lot of insight that these ladies or gents typically would not open up and talk about in a normal conversational environment. And this gives the manager a lot of power on how to channel specific things that they do. So it's tailor-making their management style to build each individual therapist's needs that they have.
Yeah, I mean, it's too true. Fortunately, actually, I would like to tell you that Banyan Tree here in the Asia Pacific region has recently introduced this. And if anybody would like to read more, there's an article on mental well-being on the APSWC website that we published just recently. But the Banyan Tree, they're doing like grassroots questionnaires like you're talking about there. And then they develop a training program, an activity program or whatever, according to what each individual property needs. So they really are starting to listen to the grassroots. It's not, it's coming from the bottom up, not from the top down. So there are people that are changing. So, there are people moving forward with it. So it's a good thing.
Very good.
Right. No, I mean, I think this conversation is very important, and more so now than ever. We read in the media all the time about mental well-being, mental wellness, etc. And it's something that we really do need to talk about, because it's one of the fundamentals or one of the key dimensions of wellness. Right? And if we overlook it, then we're not taking a holistic approach to the entire wellness paradigm. So, right? I mean, I think this is a conversation that we could continue on extensively, and Marissa and also Lucy and Laszlo, I'd like to thank you for inputting on that. But time is against us, so we need to keep moving forward. So I would like to address the next question to Lucy, if you don't mind. And this can be seem a little bit heavy-handed, but it's been suggested that the 2030 deadline for the achievement and adherence to the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals is no longer possible as a result of the pandemic. However, now more than ever, it is becoming obvious that climate change is significantly impacting our world, and everyone needs to play their part in it. Can you share with us some sustainable and responsible business practices which spa and wellness operators could or should consider in their operations today?
Okay, I think it's fair to say that the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals were always going to be challenging to reach by 2030 anyway, and could possibly be described as the most ambitious shared global vision ever to be set out. But as business people, we know that setting goals with deadlines is the way to keep a firm focus on an end result. So with the 15-year journey to achieve those goals, we have to leave room for unexpected things to happen and challenges to arise. And I think 2020 was the year that's proved that statement to us all. And it could well have slowed us down and set us back considerably on achieving the goals. But the goals have been set out as a blueprint for achieving a more sustainable future for all, leaving no one behind and taking into account environmental, social and economic development that are equally pursued along the way and valued. So with this in mind, and regardless of the perception at the moment that we might not achieve them, keeping that focus still accelerates our efforts towards building a future, a better world. And without this focus, where would we be going as nations, as businesses, or as individuals with completely unaligned agendas? So for me, this blueprint is one that works really well because it genuinely captures the spirit of sustainability by being something that works on a united scale, something that we can work on together globally or nationally, or apply to large, small businesses and to us as individuals. It's an inclusive plan, one that we can learn from in our businesses. So when you ask me to share some sustainable and responsible business practices, it's great to have a purpose and structure like this in mind. And I think taking inspiration from the UN SDGs is a great place to start and can bring great rewards ultimately to the business. So my first piece of advice, I think, would be to set out the foundation of any efforts you want to achieve within your business. So I would say, in the first instance, to involve everybody in your business. So working on sustainable business goals transcend the usual hierarchy structure of the business. For example, implementing a green team means that employees from any department at any level can become part of this team, and it can be quite surprising, especially if the team is self-elected, that you may have people in the business who are truly passionate about sustainability, who are kind of working in the so-called lower echelons of the business, but they are true green leaders, and that can bring out people skills throughout the business. So it's great to be kind of all-inclusive. Then set the goals you want to achieve, preferably measurable goals with a deadline. To make the best efforts you can to achieve these goals, make your intentions well known within your teams and to your guests as well. It gives you kind of a firm commitment and intention. And then plan to share your achievements as well. So report back on a regular basis to keep momentum going, show people what a difference their efforts are making, be they individuals, team members or guests. People are very conscious now of their footprints and like to feel rewarded by seeing the results of any positive impact they might have contributed towards. But sustainability has very broad applications within a business, spanning across the pillars of people, planet, and profit. And you specifically mentioned climate change in your question. So if I kind of make that a focus of some of more practical advice for you, we could use an example incorporating the 3 steps that I've just described as well. So I would suggest, just this is one example because there's so many I could give, but to identify a group within the business who will ultimately be responsible for delivering a goal. Set the goal. Say in this instance it's going to be to reduce waste. Waste generated by a spa or any business actually can significantly impact their climate footprint. So I would suggest to analyse that waste stream, measure it along the way, make a reduction and elimination plan for each type of waste stream you have in the business, set deadlines to achieve it, and make the goal known to all people and the reasons why you're choosing that goal as well. And then you can make a plan and make it easy for people by discouraging excess packaging, for example, or plastics, and providing appropriate bins for each type of waste stream. That makes it much easier to measure, record and monitor, and it can be displayed to everybody who's been involved. Your other point on your question was what benefit is there of this to the operator and to the guest? So for the operators, it's considerably reducing not only the climate footprint, but can save on costs for waste costs that they might have within the business. But for your guests, it's reported that spa consumers, not just spa consumers, but consumers on the whole now, really look towards businesses to help them make sustainable choices. So I think the guests would really be reassured by your actions if you tell them what your goals are and what your actions are. And it can really bring new guests in that are aligned with your values and keep their loyalty, ultimately.
No, I mean, it's interesting where you're talking there. I mean, when you look at groups like the Six Senses group, when they started many years ago, I mean, they were held up as a very significant environmental, not player, but, you know, they were doing the right thing environmentally. And it was always really interesting, even though that's the way it was being presented to the public, you know, we're going to save the world and whatever. When you actually talk to the operators themselves and the people on the ground, it was really about, yes, we're doing this and we're saving the world, or actually we're saving them some money for the company as well. Yeah. Right? Because there is significant dollars to be made by doing this. And if we're ultra cynical about it, every hotel in the world hangs their little card about, you know, please hang your towels on the rail to reuse, right? Because we'll save on the laundry, and we'll save the water and we'll save the detergent. Yes, you will, absolutely, you will save that, but you will save operating costs for the hotel. Yeah. So, you know, all of those sort of things, you know, there is and if you look at it, it actually makes sense. A lot of it is common sense, right? It's you know, it's not rocket science necessarily, right? Maybe it needs people that need to change the way they think a little bit. Yeah. So.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the towel example got a bit of a bad rap a couple of years ago as just a cost-saving exercise for hotels. It actually does have a big environmental impact as well. You know, not just on the water conservation, but on chemical usage as well. And also, you know, you have to think as an individual, do I really need to kind of be making that impact just for the sake of a clean towel every day? So there are cost-saving implications for the business, but on the whole, there genuinely are big environmental benefits too.
Yeah, but if there wasn't the cost-saving benefit, would the operator do that, or would they continue to say, we need to put fresh towels every day, we need to change the sheets every day in the hotel? I mean, in your own hotel, in your own home, you don't put fresh towels every day. You don't put fresh sheets on the bed every day, right? And, you know, let's be realistic about it. And by having that cost-saving benefit, surely that's an incentive for the operators to help drive this forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. It works on both levels. It works, you know, on a cost level, and it certainly works on an environmental level. It is common sense, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Laszlo, do you want to add in anything into that?
Yeah, you know, that's one of the buzzwords. It has been one of the buzzwords for the last 20 years, with or without SDG 17. So that's just more like materializing what has been discussed for so many years. I think one of the key barriers is that both customers as well as businesses, when you tell them that we would implement some sustainability-oriented measures, the initial reaction is that, oh, there's some limitations, that I will be refrained from certain things. So I would have a decreased level of sensation or quality or experience because there would be some limiting measures on me or limiting measures on my business. So the instant reaction is that, oh, well, that certainly has a negative impact on the business or the experience creation, which is which needs to be changed as a major shift in how you approach it. So when you introduce responsibility measures, when you offset measures like, you know, airlines do, that if you can add on a €5, €10, whatever extra on your ticket, and then it's going to be reinvested in reforestation measures by the airline. You know, spa wellness facilities can do very much the same. That, guys, you can contribute. You have your say. You have your money. This is what we do, and there is a constant exchange between the customers, loyal customers, one-off customers, and the operators. That this is what we are doing, either corporate social responsibility, inclusion, whatever it is. But you see, it's not just a black hole that I am doing sustainable measures, whatever that is, including the towels, but also I'm actively contributing in this and this way. I, took over ownership of one part of the street in terms of trees or cleaning or watering plants or whatever it is. I don't know. That's the beauty of it, that you have a lot of things to do and a lot of things we need to do, and to get involved and pick the one that fits your brand, it fits your staff, fits your location, fits your guests. So you can be picky in a good way, but you can give back and you can contribute and you can feed back. And that's, I think, important, not just the, I am green, I am sustainable, I am doing this and that, because, you can buy green TV. You could have bought Eco TV 10 years ago, or 15 years ago. It was, of course, it's just a marketing gimmick, and they had to take it back. But I think this responsibility, that this is what we do, be aware of what we're doing, we try to offset it, try to minimize it, the following ways, and you can take part in it. I think that's a 3-way, 4-way, 5-day communication, which helps.
Yeah. I think it's very important what you said there. So just before we go on with Marissa, with the SDGs, if you actually look at SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, if you actually look at the UN website, it can be mind-blowing, the detail that is there. But as Laszlo has said, and Lucy also alluded to as well, choose the one thing that you can do something about, and just focus on that. And then that's playing your part. Nobody can contribute goals and the 100 or 200, whatever it is, sub-goals. Right? Just focus on what you can do and let somebody else worry about all the other ones. Yeah, you need to start there somewhere. So,
I think that's a very good.
Was that Marissa? Did you want to add into that?
I would like to add that I would like to see more spas around the world making more of a noise about their efforts. So everybody has a little plan, a little goal, a little green team, but they're not telling the world enough about what they're doing. So yes, it's somewhere right at the bottom of their website. They might post about it once a month. I don't think they're making enough of a noise to make an impact. So I would like to see that as you land on their website, it's not, our glorious massages and our this and our that, but more look at how we focus on looking after the well-being of our staff. Look at how we focus on sustainability. And these are the efforts. Please join us. And this is how we would like to include you as the consumer into our effort. And I don't know, so there are some that have done it, but not many, where if they bring back their packaging, you give them $1 or what. It doesn't have to be a lot. In fact, it doesn't have to be anything. Just the fact that they're doing their part and they're bringing it back and you are disposing of it or recycling it in the correct way. So that's, for me, we all talk about it and we're all doing it. But I don't think, like Lucy said earlier on, you need to tell the world about it. I don't think that we're making enough of an effort and enough of a noise about what our sustainability efforts are, considering this 2030 deadline that you're talking about, No.
That makes so much sense on many levels. We as an industry are not particularly good at marketing ourselves generally, right? I think this is an opportunity now for us to really reset and relook at things. And very much, as you said there, going to a spa, it's not just about relaxation. There's lots of other things that, that could have greater impact. Yeah. So, Okay, Lucy, do you want to add anything to that, or can we move on to next question?
No, I think that was a great conversation. Perhaps the only thing is that I do really believe that the spa industry, the spa and wellness industry, should be flying the flag for environmental sustainability and for people. It's the true essence of what we do, and we've been doing it for a long time. We've been looking after people for a long time. We've been caring about people's health and development and well-being And we've also been, there's been so many product houses and things for a long time that have been using sustainable values, and we're just not actually kind of putting that in the frame and saying we believe in this, and we have done for a long time.
Okay, brilliant. Actually, can I just throw in here, Lucy, the Sustainable Spa Association, you're UK based. Your membership is global or UK?
No, the membership is global, and in fact we are we have spas who have joined us from over 44 countries now. So so it's definitely global. Okay,
so if anybody wants to pursue it, there's a great opportunity for you to follow up. So brilliant, thanks, Lucy. Okay, time is fast going through, and we're not even going to get through our full list of questions, I don't think. But anyway, Laszlo, you have suggested that the travel and leisure activities can benefit from our changing times. And I think we've already alluded to this with some of the answers we've already had. That the spa and wellness facilities could potentially transform their offerings and even become working spaces, right? A spa version of the so-called staycation or workcation, perhaps. Laszlo, can you perhaps expand on this and where you see that this might go for some of the operators in the industry?
Yes, obviously, my job is most of the time to come up with some bizarre, unusual, or some quirky ideas, because that starts the discussion and results in something really great in the end. And this is exactly it. And when you mix areas or fields which don't tend to mix rather well, and you come up with something new, this is the time to do that. And this is why, for example, to look at that certain facilities, since many countries either limited or closed or restricted in many ways in terms of operations or in terms of capacities or guest numbers or anything, you need to look at how you can actually get loyal guests or create new loyal guests. And that's the ways. And when you look at the examples of what made Starbucks the company which everybody wants to go after, it's not the coffee. It's on the side. It's more like creating your second home, because you wanted to sit in the lounges and armchairs and the nice atmosphere. And taking the examples of that, the co-working experiences, the accommodation facilities, looking into how to reutilize space, since you can't have guests who stay overnight, but you can get guests who stay in for the day. But what exactly are they doing? So the reopening as co-working spaces, and then you provide individual meeting rooms, individual little offices that someone had enough of being locked down at home and home officing, and just go into a nicely designed room with amenities, and you can have room service, and you still, you can be on any Teams or Zoom or Meet or whatever it is. Doesn't matter where you are. That for once you will be in a different environment, and you get out of your house or home. And the same is with certain spa facilities, that you can provide the benefit of having a one-on-one treatment, whatever it is, body treatment, facial treatment, whatever that is, in the next phase. But at the same time,
you can have a foot massage while you're doing a Zoom call.
Yes, certainly can do, and you will have a very happy customer who is actually taking part at Zoom event. But really is that you do have, not every spa wellness facility would be suitable for such thing. But certainly you have options, and this is just an indication of you need to go beyond your usual boundaries, physical, product, brand, whatever boundaries you have, to look into how you can create guests, how you can recreate guests, how you can redefine the guest relationship that you have, at the same time utilizing of staff and space and making some revenue. And yes, who says that you cannot have a 4-hour session with basically going to be a meeting session or a office session, and they will finished off with whatever treatment that guests might have. At the same time, we would need to have all the protocols of hygiene and cleansing protocols, which, let's say, hotels have or airlines introduce, that this is what they are doing, publicized properly for the spa and wellness facilities, that if you apply the same methodology, the same rigorous cleansing processes, so don't worry about it. So feel free to bring your business literally to our space, and you have your individual treatment room. You can have, your team can come here. But it's a very different, it may not be the most appropriate way of using it, but the thinking we need to apply, and you look at individually, one by one, every single facility. I don't believe in global trends per se, especially not nowadays, apart from being locked down. But how you get out of it and how you approach the issue, that really would need to be based on some local initiatives, looking at your space, looking at your staff, looking at your customers. What exactly is it they would be responding to, what they try? So this whole, why don't we work in a spa? I would love to. I mean, personally, I would absolutely love to. Let's say once a week to go a place where I can, get out of my home office, my home office here, and have some benefits of some treatment for the matter. And you would look way better on the next Zoom after you had your facial, wouldn't you?
And you don't have to while you're doing the Zoom.
No, yeah, but they're obviously not face cleansing. I'm talking about some other or peeling, because it doesn't really help for your next Zoom. But we need to be more creative here, and not just desperately trying to do just online sales, which is important, and certainly that has to be a balance here. How you can do online presence. Some of them are pro bono, some of them are against payment. But how you go beyond that and look around what other solutions you might have. And yes, that's spa working is one of the ways to probably approach it, obviously depending on country regulations.
Yeah, and well, I think your example there of Starbucks is a really good example for us to use, because I mean, I'm totally in agreement with you. You do not go, or I don't go, right? Sorry, Mr. Starbucks. I do not go to Starbucks for the coffee, right? It really is for the environment, the chairs, the ambiance, right? And everything else it provides, right? And so if you transfer that same logic to a spa and say, well, normally I'm going for a massage, that's priority. And so what you're saying is, and I think quite rightly so, is that, yes, we provide damn good therapies, but there is other stuff, there's the other add-ons, the environment and the other services that we can add into it to really make it a greater experience beyond the individual treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to see that, being piloted, Lucy, Andrew, Marissa. I mean, you have, millions of, colleagues all around. Would be great to see if that's, or any such thing is actually implementable. Not that one, but anything along that line. Because the industry, I think, at the moment really needs inspiration.
Let's throw that out there now. And for everybody who's watching this, if you think that this really makes sense and it's something that you would like to implement, please contact us and let us know, and we will be happy to help promote it through our own networks, keeping in mind maybe we're not in the same country that you are. But yeah, right, let's support the industry and somebody who's taking these initiatives and actually moving it forward beyond the talk and ideas stage. So yeah, let's run with it, right?
Sure.
I love
Absolutely.
Marissa?
No, I was just saying I love it. That would be totally up my alley. I mean, imagine having this conversation now whilst I was having a foot massage. It would be amazing.
Yeah. It would be so... Would you be concentrating on the discussion, though? That's the thing.
I would even concentrate even better, and I'd be more creative because... I would be getting a treatment. I'd be feeling well.
Yeah, you would have the juices and everything.
Lucy, do you want to add into that?
Well, I was liking the comment that Marissa made there about being more creative. The way I was kind of imagining this in my mind was, I was thinking a few scenarios, actually. well, I think we've all had this where, I mean, I've had this because I used to go and work down at the club, at the health club locally to me, and then go for yoga at lunchtime and then go back and work in the lounge and things. So the concept to me would really work. But there's always that one annoying person who is not respecting the space and is talking really loudly on their phone or just disrupting the area around them. And I think if you could kind of make it guide the package that you're describing quite well, as in, you know, maybe creating really quiet space for people to work, but it's kind of on a day when it's like a project day for them and they need quiet space, place to be inspired and have that kind of free-flowing creative thoughts when they're doing their work, and then go and have some relaxation time to just think it through, almost kind of in a meditative state, and then go back to it. I think that would be great. But I'm just trying to imagine a spa lounge with lots of people zooming and calling and things, and whether that would actually work.
I wouldn't say the lounge. Imagine you have 10 treatment rooms.
Okay.
You don't think about it per hour utilization, but let's say the minimum booking is 4 hours or 5 hours. That includes your meeting, then you can have a lunch, you can have an individual lunch, you can have the treatment in the room. And I wouldn't say it in the main lounge because that, you know, regulation wouldn't permit, for example. But when you say that, I'm talking about individual treatment rooms, pre, post, hygienic, you know, review and all the rest of it. So basically, you're buying a 4-hour session, just like you go in a public space, like go to the Starbucks for a meeting or whatever that is. But you go to this place and you have a different package and different kind of management approach. So it's not hour slots. And obviously, your utilization of staff would be very different in that case. But that's a different, just going through this change period or just, you know, getting over with. Otherwise, you want to go back right away to 1 hour or 50-minute sessions, but it won't necessarily go for all sort of reasons. Just start it with something else, and you say that just for 1 day a week, or you can book it for 5 hours. They give you a meal. You can have up to 2 treatments, as well as you can run your meetings. You have your own room for the whole day, for the half a day. Here you go.
So well, that certainly does sound.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we would love to continue this conversation, but we're running out of time fast. So I need to wrap it up. Otherwise, the Beauty Online trade show guys are going to start jumping up and down and pull the plug on us. Just in wrapping up very quickly before I thank everybody, Marissa, we collectively, we have penned the Wellness During and Post COVID-19 report that has been published and on various social media platforms and distributed globally, including on the APSWC website. For those who haven't got access to that report yet, which is a free report, where can they download it? Marissa?
That's a good question. Could
Do you have the link?
Send the link? I don't know by heart.
Okay. Okay, we will put the link below, okay? We will add the link below, don't panic.
Right.
All right, so it's available there if anybody would like to pursue that. So, okay, no problem. Anyway, like I said, we've run out of time. So I would like to very much thank Lucy, Marissa, and Laszlo for joining us today. And, you know, amazing input. And I hope that you, the viewers, have gained something out of this. All of us are more than willing to pursue discussions on a one-on-one basis as is relevant. Please feel free to contact us. And, you know, we're happy to discuss any aspect of what we've discussed today to continue to moving the industry forward, because now is really a time for change. And you know, the movement is there. The initiative is there. The not innuendo, whatever. Anyway, we're moving forward. So thank you very much, everybody. All right. To Gary and your team behind the scenes, thank you very much. And please continue enjoying your Beauty Online trade show, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.